What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 105 with Behind the Tool Belt with TC Backer Construction.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer.
TC Backer family, hopefully everyone had a good Christmas. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. 105 episodes strong here. This evening we're going to be switching things up a little bit. This is going to be a nice laid-back show. We got our boy here, David Bruno from Local IQ. We got this gentleman, Rich, that this is the first time that we're meeting him. We'll be introducing him here and what he does. But tonight is just basically going to be a recap on the year, some of the great things that we've all done, some things that maybe we wish we could have done a little bit better, maybe talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing to better ourselves next year, maybe some New Year's resolutions, and that is personal and business. So yeah, man, how's everyone doing? How's everyone's Christmas?
Laid back says you.
Yes.
I didn't want to cut you off while you said that, but yeah, like Chris was saying, personal, professional, industry, and as an example, of successes, failures, or lessons, and when I'm saying failures, not necessarily like where did you fail, but maybe more so like what could you have done better.
Came up a little short on something.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like what could I have done differently or better? Like for an example, like I really feel like I let my health go in 2021. Okay, so we started like a lifestyle change about 3 years ago, and I call it a lifestyle change. I don't want to call it a diet. Okay, we changed our eating habits and stuff. So I fell short. I'm still taking the supplements and stuff like that, but just my eating habits and the times that I eat and the things that I drink and what I've been consuming, I really feel like I've been failing at those kinds of things. And then as far as like the industry, like what could I do to make a difference in our industry? You know what I mean? And this year and last year, we've really talked a lot about trying to change the stigma of the roofing industry and making it more of a culture atmosphere and giving back what has been so freely given to us and, those kinds of things. So, and I'm sure both of you guys, I just met you tonight, which is interesting, but if you're a friend of David's, you're a friend of ours. Speaking of David, like what is this, like your fourth or fifth episode?
Yeah, there's been a couple cameos I've made there, and got you guys over Thanksgiving and all that good stuff. But yeah, this would be really episode number 4.
Like, I almost feel like you were on also around this time frame last year.
Yeah.
Were you here for basically the last one of the year?
I think it was pretty close. Yeah, we were here
it was close. I think that was like your first.
Yeah.
Or around your first time.
Yeah, so four times. And like I said before, each time I come in here, it's great to see you guys evolving this every single time with lighting and sound and just the background here. I mean, you guys keep stepping it up all the time. So this is good stuff.
We get a wild hair apparatus, and the lights just don't look right. The sound just doesn't sound right, and it's how can we zoom in? How can we pan out? How can we bring it in? How can we pull it out? You know what I mean? It's like all of these things, and not really necessarily for me. I'm speaking on my behalf, not coming from like the audio video background. You know what I mean? So we've really kind of, trudged our way through it. You know, for lack of better terms. But I think we've are on the right path right now.
Yeah, constantly improving. And I'm glad that you touched on the word failure, because we don't like to use that a lot, because failure is really only a failure if you quit at the point that you failed. Right? Yes. So as long as you're learning and you evolve from that failure or coming up short, I mean, it's actually really not a failure. It's a learning experience.
It's a lesson.
Me personally, I think me and you relate on this. That's how I learn the best. You know, if I mess something up, I will never forget what I did to mess that up, and I won't do it again. Right. You know what I mean? And then you evolve and you try again next time. Absolutely. This studio is a perfect example of that. You know what I mean? Let us make a mistake one night, or let us think that something doesn't look right. I guarantee you next week, it's not going to be that way. We'll figure it out, and we just know not to do that anymore. Yes. You know? So that's kind of how we got to where we are.
Same thing with a lot of my customer relationships. You know, you on one hand, you would love for things to just go smooth all the time and just be perfect. However, when that's the case, a lot of those times you end up not communicating, you know, because things are just kind of moving along and you're not communicating and you're not really establishing that. So if something does go wrong to where it's a little bit of a challenge, you kind of work together on things to fix things and make things a little bit better. And then it's going to help us all improve. And it does help with the relationship as well.
Right. When you're able to do that. I really feel like it has a lot to do with the people that you surround yourself with too.
Yeah.
You know, Vic and I were talking about doing this thing. It's called what the heck is it called, Vic? The Fearless 44 with Hunter that we met down at RoofCon. You know, and the one thing Vic said before I walked out, he's like, I just need someone to help me, you know, hold me accountable. And it's like, and I'm thinking what's going through my mind is like, dude, you have no fucking idea what I'm going to get you into. You know what I mean? Like,
those boys are going to hold you accountable.
Yeah, you want that,
for sure.
But not just them, but me. I'm going to not ride his ass, but it's like I'm going to push him because I don't want to say something to him that I'm not actually doing personally myself. And I think we'll really feed off of each other. But I was thinking that going out the door, it's like, dude, I'll push you. Don't you worry. Yeah. You know. But we need that. We need that from each other. And it's like he was talking today. His daughter works for us now. So congratulations on like her first 2 weeks. Her first week. You know, and that's always the toughest. But he put her in an uncomfortable position today.
Oh yeah.
She hasn't answered the phones yet. And phone rang. Vic's like, aren't you going to answer that? And she was like, no. And he was like, yeah, you are.
That wasn't a question.
Right. You know, but that's kind of what we do. It's like we push each other, you know, and that's one of those lessons through failures or whatever, however successes, all of that combined, you know, just pushing each other and trying to better each other and having that little game of putting each other in uncomfortable positions and being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
And that's kind of the way that Rich and I met each other, too. We met each other, heck, that's been what? That's about 2 years. We were out there at...
Almost 3 now,
yeah. We were out there at a grand opening of a showroom up there in, Mannheim.
Yes.
And so we just kind of connected there and gotten together a couple times since.
Nice.
Most recently reconnected out there at a multi-chamber of commerce event in Lebanon up there at the Renaissance Fair. So
okay,
so we just kind of reconnected.
So, dude, what do you do? and who are you? Okay, I'm like dying to know what you do.
Oh my gosh!
And what's your name? Rich?
Yep, Rich McKee.
Rich McKee, and who are you with?
So the company I represent is Paylocity, and kind of
sorry.
Yeah. That's good. Paylocity is a technology company that does payroll and HR software. You know, really sexy stuff. You know, that's what we're into.
Payroll and HR.
Yeah.
That sounds really
everybody just pulls over it, right?
I know, right? Money.
Oh, no. But honestly, here's the deal. Like, I didn't get into that for the paycheck. I didn't get into it for, just technology and my passion for it. It's not about that. Years ago, before I even got into like sales, I was in ministry. So I was a pastor for a number of years.
Oh, wow.
So I was all about investing into people.
Thanks for the warning.
Yep. Hey, it's all good. None of us are perfect.
I'm smoking like a chimney behind the scenes, dropping F-bombs. Right.
But here's the thing, like, one of the heartbeats for me is understanding culture, improving culture. And I remember a couple episodes ago, right around Thanksgiving time frame, David's like, you got to check these guys out. And you guys are talking about your company culture and what you're doing. You even mentioned a little bit earlier. I spent years of time working for an organization that all they did was culture engagements, exploring that, building into the leadership, doing workshops to really improve the engagement of the people, the retention of employees, the attraction of talent. And so I did a lot of work there. And then I was like, you know what? This tech company, yeah, they do payroll, but a lot of their software really focuses in on the culture. Mm-hmm. And so all my conversations, 90% of it is really all around the culture of the organization, what's going well, what's not going well, what's broken. And sometimes it's, just a mindset, or, they did something the old fashioned way. Getting into the new age, and they need to think more about, instead of pushing their product or their service, is improving their people. Mm-hmm. Right? And watch your people shine. And I think that was part of it too. It's kind of like iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so even with you guys talking about the whole fact of, accountability, mm-hmm. that's, you're sharpening each other. You're becoming mm-hmm. the best product that you can be, the best person you can be.
Right.
And that's so important. And that's what I want to see for companies.
Cool, man. I'm digging it.
Yeah. That explanation made it sound way sexier than payroll and HR.
Yeah,
it does, right? I even did that.
Getting a paycheck's pretty cool, but
that's the emotional value that we've talked about so much.
Right.
But I forgot probably what you did per se, and I wasn't even thinking about like, God, that must be expensive.
Right.
Because you were already, I don't even want to say selling me, but selling me on the culture.
Exactly.
In that emotional value.
Yeah.
And that's what we're really trying to hone in on. And I'm really glad you said that. And I'm sure we could pick each other's brain a little bit, more so me picking your brain, because it sounds like you got a lot of experience with culture. But I totally lost my train of thought there for a second. But I'm really digging. Where have you been? Because we're constantly trying to improve each other. I mean, and really, it's not even about the products that we're selling. Right. Okay, it's not even about the warranties that come with that product, but it's that emotional value that we're really trying, that I'm really stuck on right now. It's like, how can we provide that emotional value for somebody? You know what I mean? It's not about the cost, it's not about the warranties, it's not about the products that we're using, but how are we making them feel? Do we make them feel special? Do we make them feel loved? Okay, and that's got to trickle down from the top.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're treated well, mm-hmm. okay, then you're going to treat your peers well, and then you guys are going to treat the clients well.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that trickles down through. And it's all about, like, we probably have dumped effortless a whole shit ton of hours. Okay, because I can't get my words right here, but a bunch of hours into trying to better ourselves. Even with our marketing, like, we're really looking, like, we stopped doing the manipulation marketing. Like the 10% this, buy 4 windows, get 1 free. That's all a hoax, at least in my eyes, because I actually really try to give away things, and it doesn't work. It hurts the bottom line. Mm-hmm. You can't get by giving windows away, by doing a 15%, by doing a 25%, and not bashing the guys that are in the marketing and probably try to push people, because it's called something like, you have to give them something, like when you're doing some kind of promotion. What I would like to give somebody, and not to take the show hostage, is emotional value.
Right. Sell them happiness, man.
Yes.
Sell them happiness.
And it's tough to find. It's tough to find. How do you market that? Do you know what I mean? How do you let people know that, other than just doing what we're doing now and talking about it? But that's just a crumb of it. We can't just talk about it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I was thinking about, like, even during the course of these past couple of weeks, as I've been sitting there thinking about you're in my conversation about that, and that's the direction you want to go. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, it does, like you said, it does help to have some kind of giveaway or discount of something to kind of catch somebody's attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to come up with some creative ways, and that's one of the things that I'm looking to do as well, is to see where we can kind of meet in the middle on something like that, to get that emotional buy-in that you're looking at, but still be able to actually capture something, because there are certain triggers that are going to catch people's attention.
Yeah,
right.
And it's just a matter of maybe incorporating that, or figuring out how to blend those things. It is definitely tough. But
I've been really thinking about it a lot myself, and it's like, okay, yes, we can offer our financing. Mm-hmm. Those are maybe pain points for people. Like, okay, I don't have the money right now, but I can afford $99 a month.
Right.
For 7 years, maybe more so promoting those kinds of things, and like, try to, I mean, it's so tough to not try to offer 10% off. I mean, I guess if we're whacking them over the head enough, yes, we can take 10% off. And maybe that's the approach that we should have taken before I just jumped ship and was like, look, we can't do this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a little bit different though, because that's truly actually taking 10% off of something. I know where you're going with it. You see a lot of these other contractors, not even contractors, just you can be a big box store. Mm-hmm. How many times has Ashley Furniture gone out of business?
A lot.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like how many times has so and so must sell, must go.
Yes.
All these different promotions.
And those signs are up
60% off. What you don't realize is they just marked it up 30,
yes,
so that they can drop the 60 and really only give you 30, or if you're even getting that. You know what I mean? It's the market manipulation that you're talking about. Actually, truly taking at the end of a project, taking 10% off of Mrs. Smith's bill. That's not manipulation.
No.
You know what I mean? We didn't do that to get her in, to rope her in. Mm-hmm. That's just something that is just going to come along, whether it's Mrs. Smith or Mr. Anderson or whoever it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's completely different.
I think a lot of it's perception too.
Right.
Because I know that when I go, I always use the example of when I buy a car. I know that they've got me in there and they've kind of hooked me in with some things that are, I know that they're not actually going to, but it caught my attention. Mm-hmm. And I think that my perception is that as long as I leave there, sometimes the deal is done so quickly to where I'm like, I know I've just gotten raked over the coals. They're probably back there high-fiving because that went too quick and too easily.
And they are.
But yes, but when I left there, I know that as long as I got the deal that I wanted and I felt that I was comfortable with, they can make their money, and I know that's what they're there to do. They're there to make some money, and they need to do that some way or another.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay with that. It's just the perception.
There has to be a profit.
Yes.
And I guess that's the point I'm trying to make, because we were literally trying to give things away. Just about every roof we did got free gutters. In hopes that they would want to buy gutter guards, but not everybody wants gutter guards.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And sitting in a room full of salespeople, and it's like, I don't have the heart to sit there and tell Bucky, like, look, I need you to overinflate your prices so you can come down 10%.
Right.
Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
For real.
Let me ask this. Have you ever, hey, we can give you 10%, but I want something from you. There's nothing wrong with that. I want a story from you.
Right.
I want you to, maybe not come on here if you're a customer. Maybe you have a customer on here one time. I don't know. Yeah. But maybe like a testimonial or a rating on some platform.
Yeah. Trade 5% off the final bill for a Google review and a review on 3 different social media platforms or something like that.
Right. Again, and it's not a we're paying you to give us a good rating. It's like, no, we want a good story that we can put on our website about you, a good quote or whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
I've actually seen in one of the roofing groups that we follow, I've seen a contractor actually post one of his invoices up. I wish I could remember who it was, but they actually have a bottom line at the end of their thing. You can, as the customer, you can sign up for. It's like a 6-month thing. You get 10% off total. It's like 3% for a review, 4% for this, and then you keep my yard sign in your yard for 6 months. We'll take another X amount off of the final payment or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So advertisement discounts, that kind of stuff. See, I don't look at that as manipulation per se. Yeah. Whereas you're just, in order for me to get you in the door, I'm telling you, look, before I even talk to you, I'm guaranteeing you 20%.
So, and here's the mindset behind that. The mindset is you're not just a customer of mine. Mm-hmm. Customers come and go all the time, right? It's a transactional thing. This is like a partnership. Mm-hmm. You're like, hey,
and that's the point I'm trying to make, because I have to say I got to agree to disagree with half of what everybody's saying here. That's all manipulation. Yep. It's totally you're asking them to do something for a discount, and I think it's horrible that you have to ask somebody to give you a review.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah,
that is true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sitting here and I want to throw up in my mouth right now.
But that's just the thing.
The point I'm trying to make, and maybe someday, if maybe you think I'm crazy, but hopefully at some point in time you guys will think I'm a fucking genius, because, like seriously, like, I'm trying to remove, and when I say I'm trying to change our industry and the stigma of our industry, like, I'm not just saying that to like toot my own horn or anything. Like, I'm for real about that.
Absolutely.
Like, this is our price, but it means something. And if anything else, if you want to think about, like, okay, we're paying for this roof, but know this, a certain percentage, and I don't know what that percentage is actually going to a good cause.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know you've talked about that a lot too.
That's a game changer.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Between the 21 turkey, the food drives, the $100 dinner, like just know that like when you put a TC Backer roof on your home, and we're getting way off track of what we wanted to talk about originally, and it seems like we always do that because I can't express enough how much I hate manipulation marketing.
Yeah.
So,
like I can't stand it.
So even like talking about this, like before coming on here, my mom, I dropped by my mom and dad's, and she's like, "So what are you doing tonight?" I'm like, "Well, not going home with the wife," and I'm like, I'm actually going to go out to York and chat with a couple guys, and I told her a little about it. I'm like, think about this. I'm like, this organization I'm going to go visit, they literally do this turkey thing. I'm like, I'll just put it this way: all their employees show up, and their families. Mm-hmm. Their families. So it's not a volunteer day.
Right.
This is a family community event, and I'm like, that's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so here's the thing: they're creating so much value to the community. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of it? And oh yeah, by the way, knowing where some of that money goes, knowing where some of the thought, where the intentionality goes, like that's everything. So with what you're saying, absolutely, it's literally, this is our game plan. These are our values. Our employees live the values.
Right, and that's the culture.
We're investing in
that's
the culture.
The message I'm trying to relay, and that's the message when my back is turned, I would want it to be shared, as if I was still standing there.
And the difficult part, like you were touching on, how do you market that?
Right.
You know what I mean? How do you come out without just putting an ad out there that says, "Hey, by the way, you roof with us. This is where your money's going to go."
Yes.
You know, how do you strategically get that into people's minds so you don't have to ask for reviews, so you don't have to manipulate with percentages off. People are like, you know what, I'm going to pay $20,000 for my roof whether I go here, here, or here. At least I know if I go here, some of that money I'm going to get to see go into the community at some point in time.
Maybe that is on a flyer. Maybe that's in, again, mentioning it here is a huge part about it. But it's like, kind of putting that in front of people to let them know. So again, it's less about the products and the service. It's really about the community and the culture and the organization and the people you're building up.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. A next generation and a wave of a different type of looking at this industry. Right. So again, payroll industry. Oh man, I'll tell you. Like every time the people are like, "Oh, you're like a payroll guy," kind of like secondhand to a used car salesman. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, that's not my role. Like that's not how I do things.
Right.
So it's a little different. You kind of have to brand yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big. Again, we were talking about New Year's resolutions a little bit. Continuing to refine my brands.
Right.
That's a big thing that I want to do. Because I have a family name to represent before, and spiritual convictions and everything else that I need to represent first before I represent my employer, and that's very important to me.
Right.
So, but I just got off on another tangent. So.
Yeah, that's great. It's good stuff.
That's what we do, man.
It's nice to get a fresh view on it with a same topic but different spin. It is. It's kind of refreshing to get someone in here that really is picking up what we're trying to put down and has been already doing it in a different way and maybe not as robust as we're trying to really do it. Because Kim Smith one night, whether she meant to say it or not, and this was probably about a year ago or 6 months ago or something, she put in here in one of our comments, and she works for us. Actually, I don't even like to say that either. She works with me, okay? And she said TC Backer is a lifestyle. You know what I mean? And really, and whether she knew exactly what she was saying or not, and she probably does because she's been with us now, I think, coming up on 8 years, and it has become a lifestyle for her. Like when I see her outside of work, like at the supermarket, she's got a TC Backer hoodie on.
So good.
Do you know what I mean? Or a jacket or something like that. And most people call in like it is. It really has become a lifestyle, almost like Apple. Like with someone with that with an Apple, that kind of represents something, like the type of or kind of person that you are. Well, when you walk around wearing one of these hoodies or a hat or whatever, or a gaiter or a face mask or whatever it is, it has become like representing who you are and what you stand for.
Yeah.
I guess is like where we're trying to take this.
And that's the thing, though. Nobody is running around. Again, let's put it this way. I passed like $2 Generals on the way out here, okay? I've never seen anybody running around with a Dollar General hoodie saying, like, I'm proud to work at Dollar General. I'm not knocking it. We work there. Awesome. We love the DG. It's cheap prices there. But here's the thing. Like, knowing that they actually have a part in something bigger than themselves, that's everybody wants to be a part of something awesome, something credible, something that has good character, somebody, something that's making an impact.
Mm-hmm.
So you're creating that, which is really cool.
We're trying. We're trying.
Yeah.
We're all
It's like,
trying.
I mean, everybody's got nobody wears the logo wear like your crews do.
Yeah.
Your folks wear those on a regular basis. Like I saw Chuck in the truck out, just a couple months ago at a restaurant. Saw him out there and saw him sporting the hat and the shirt and the hoodie and all that good stuff. And he always does every time I see him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always great to see. And there's like to Rich's point, there's not a lot of businesses where you're seeing like that, to where the folks in the team are actually out there just doing their thing, supporting the business they're with, because it is a totally different culture.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because 5, 10, even 5 years ago, we weren't. I think we were still trying to navigate, like, which direction are we going? What are we going to do? How can we attract good people? You know what I mean? And then I started to self-educate myself in some different areas, whether it be podcast or YouTube or reading and stuff like that. And I'll be honest with you, where I get a lot of my insight from is Simon Sinek.
Oh, yeah.
I love that dude. I can't get enough of what he writes, or I listen to a lot of what he's saying. And we've had several of our coworkers read it. I know Vic's read it. I know Ben's read it. I know we're trying to like plant these seeds, and I've offered it to other people. But really, if you want to know where I'm coming from, or where it's not that I'm a genius, I was smart enough to know to read his literature. Okay, and to me, it's basic text. Okay, it's something that you can read and study. And his books, I won't give you my book because I don't want to give my book away, but I'll buy you one. I mean, that's how good, especially Leaders Eat Last. I mean, it is just hands down, or Know Your Why, all of that. I mean, all of it is just really good stuff. And it has been so eye-opening to see and listen to his perspective. He talks about, branding and culture and stuff like that. Like Harley Davidson has done such a great job that people literally get their tattoo of like the Harley Davidson badge, or whatever you want to call it, that logo on their body. Now, I'm not saying, and maybe someday we could get it to that point, but that's kind of like what I'm shooting for. Do you know what I mean? Like, to be so proud to go.
Vic will be the first one
to go one step further. And what's crazy is when Chuck in the Truck started here, like, he loved that so much that he actually got Chuck in the Truck tattooed on him.
Yeah, he did.
Really?
He did. Yeah. He's got a Chuck in the Truck on his neck that he got tattooed.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to be really looking now.
Like, seriously, he did that because of us, but that's the culture, that's the lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It goes that deep because they see it's not me just talking. My actions speak a lot louder than my words do up there. I don't even have to be there for them to see the differences. You know what I mean? And we take passion in that. It's like we love this, and where we're at right now in the company, man, it's just it's just an awesome place to be. The sky's the limit, and that energy, and I can't wait for 2022. I mean, it is going to be just so off the charts right now. We're running literally right now 110 Facebook ads at the same time about our culture.
I love it.
Do you know what I mean? With no 10% off bull crap, no 15 this, no buy 5, get 6 free, or whatever, or 50 for my favorites, 50% off labor. Yeah, Bake, I'm going to ask you to come in today. Will you only work 10
hours, but I won't pay you for 5.
Yes, can you do that for me today? Because we're running a special today of 50% off.
Ty,
labor.
there's not many people that I would do it for, but you're one of the guys I would.
Maybe I can start manipulating the people that work with me, opposed to manipulating the customers. There we go. Yeah. That's going to be our angle. Okay, so next time you put a roof on your house, know this: they're doing it for half price, but you're getting charged full price. Okay. Yeah.
He's going to work half as much, and I know I'm kidding.
Right.
That was
I'll be
great.
down there collecting turkeys with everyone else.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
but that's the
man.
reality of it, though, too, is that you're arming your people with the right stuff. So it's not that you're just not putting a warm body out there to get the work done.
Right.
Right. You're putting like sharp people that actually have a heart for what they do, a heart for the people they're going out to serve. That's a game changer, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Right.
Why wouldn't you want to pay for better quality?
For sure.
Yeah.
Most definitely, and that's the thing. We invest a lot into our team.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, that costs money. It costs a lot of time, which costs money. And if you want a good product and know that your roof or your project, your windows or your siding is going to a good cause, Who wouldn't want a roof on their home knowing that it went to something good? That your roof actually fed a family.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if you break it up in what the amount that it costs to perform something that large, we shut a whole a city block down. Okay, we had 700 plus meals that we served. I mean, think about that. And that came from, we could not have done that without our community.
Yeah.
Okay, so why not give back to the same community that has been so gracious to us? You know, and whatever project that we did, know that whatever project, and if there's any customers that are listening right now, or partnerships, like you said, because really it becomes a friendship, a relationship, you know, over the longevity. But know this, that your project probably fed a whole family, an entire family.
Yeah.
Right.
At some point in time, it's going to.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, if you notice when you look at marketing now and you see a lot of things, especially on places like YouTube and that, the human element is really key. It's not just about showing a product up there. It's all about the emotional connection and the things. A lot of times you look at some of these commercials on TV and I have no idea who they're even for until the very end. You know, because it's all about seeing a situation like a family situation, whether it's in the backyard or going through something, and then the business that's doing that shows up there. So it's just so there's a lot of different things like that, and that goes into a lot of what you're saying for sure. It's just a matter of kind of putting that all into a plan, I guess, and figuring out what the best way to attack it is. Yeah.
The last 2 years, let's just be real about it. People have been caught off guard with all kinds of craziness. It's stressful for a lot of families. But I could see what you guys do and what a lot of other organizations do is they're providing peace of mind. They're providing some type of happiness, right? Because again, and there's a sense of pride too, right? When you get some home improvement stuff done, it's like, ooh, you know what? Man, it looks sharp. Yeah. You know, and it's a different feel. So like that's part of what I see you guys are doing as well. Yeah. And that impacts things.
Yeah. Big impact.
There's nothing better that you can sell than happiness, man. No matter what your product is, if you can deliver it with happiness and put a smile on somebody's face, there's no better thing. I mean, that's what everyone is seeking, right? That's right. Everyone's seeking somebody that cares about them, that they trust, and that is going to make them happy, no matter what they're doing. So, I mean, you know, we've seen it with Ed Milet talking about McDonald's. What's their number one selling product? It's a happy. You know what I mean? And that was all based off of, you know, selling someone a smile, sell them a happy meal. It makes your kids happy.
Right. Ed Milet, did you guys check in with him on
at RoofCon? He was a speaker. Yeah. So it was really good.
Very powerful. It was really life changing. You know, if you paid attention.
Yep. There's a John Maxwell leadership coach in the Lancaster area that I partnered with, and I just on Monday blasted out a whole bunch of emails to some prospects in Lancaster, some clients, and this is not an event for me to sell to them, right? It's all about just providing value, creating a culture, and changing a mindset, right? Yep. And so Ed Milet's one of the speakers that it's going to be like a rehash of the live the lead kind of thing. And I'm telling you, that's the key thing is provide value to people, create some stories, and it brings those emotional ties along.
Yeah, Maxwell was there too. John Maxwell and Ed Milet were there.
It was great.
It was a really good lineup, man.
Yeah, it was. It was
a really good lineup.
Yeah,
it's no joke. He's a good guy.
Yeah, all good stuff. So,
and even from the 21 Turkey Salute, you know, just wearing those turkey PJs.
Yes.
As much fun as we had with that, the number of kids that came over there and just started laughing and giggling and wanting to take pictures and all that good stuff. I was surprised by that for one. Yeah. But after a while, that's what it's about.
That's the feel good stuff right there, man, for real.
Yeah.
So now, unfortunately, you volunteered yourself every year.
So I am the.
Yes. There you go. You're Rufus the turkey, bro.
Look at that, Rufus the turkey. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That is good stuff.
It was good stuff, man. I was happy that you showed up like that.
And it's Rufus, you know. Rufus. Yeah. Rufus the turkey. Yes.
So let's take a second here and give a big shout out to our proud sponsor, Lead Scout. We've been forgetting about that. So big shout out to Lead Scout. Thank you guys for everything that you do for us, and you make this possible for us. Let's also talk about the York County
The Builder Show.
Yes, Home and Garden Show.
Yes. That is February 11th to the 13th.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up quick.
It is coming up quick.
Yep. And then
Poor Howie.
And then the week after that is Adams County, which will be the 18th and the 19th. So, and I think Harrisburg, I think that's still up in the air, and I think Lancaster was canceled. So we may only be doing 2, maybe 3 home shows back to back to back. But looking forward to it. And again, you know, you've seen how we've just changed the studio here. So you're going to have to come out and check us out.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be Barnum and Bailey's all over again, and it's going to be a blast. Yep.
Just listen for the tasers. Just listen for the tasers. If you can't find them, just listen for the tasers and the giggling.
We're going to set a coffee shop up where you can go and just chill out. Free coffee. We're going to serve espresso, coffee in our one area, and then over where our displays and stuff are going to be, our studio will be over there, along with big screen TVs. We're going to have our solar system stuff there. Our insulation machine will be there. That way people can kind of touch and see and ask questions about, you know, what's up with the solar, and talk about the 26% federal tax credit that you get with that. Insulation, ventilation, all that good stuff. We're changing everything. The whole display is going to be totally different. Mostly, I think we're going to try to go mostly virtual. You know what I mean? A lot of big screens and things like that. And, you know, the tape just keeps, you know, going and flipping and going to the next reel and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to pull it off. And then we're also doing greenhouses again. So we're going to be auctioning them off for Workforce Now program, which is a great program hosted by the York Builders Association themselves.
They were a hit last year too, man.
Yeah,
they were a hit.
Right. Hence why we wanted
the one gentleman that bought the one. Remember, he was going to do both of them, but he let the other gentleman outbid him.
Yes.
And remember, he was like, "Can I pay you guys to build me some more?" So hopefully he comes back through and maybe once cleared some more spot out on his land, because I know he had a lot of land. I think out in the Gettysburg area.
It was Leitersburg. Leitersburg, Maryland, right outside Hagerstown. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man.
They were a hit, so hopefully they go again. We can get a good amount of money to the Workforce Now program.
For sure.
Good stuff.
Yeah, we definitely love that stuff. Dan Walker, hey buddy, good to see you. Chuck in the truck said he's actually going to get that tattoo covered up with the TC backer.
And Chuck in the truck corrected me. You know, I said a restaurant. You know, and he said that's a little at the swamp. It was a steak breakfast there. So
an old drinking hole, or what watering hole.
Yes, yeah. So he corrected me, but I got to do that again here sometime soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. So,
but you guys, when you guys are talking about the those home and garden shows as well, a lot of people, I notice a lot of businesses just seem to think that's just like a necessary evil. They just have to show up for it, and you can tell they don't put the effort into it. They throw something together real quick and just kind of have somebody standing there, and they're not taking advantage of it.
No.
The way you guys present it, I mean, you guys have a good time. You use it as almost a team building event for one.
I'm glad you said that.
And then it's also that is a spot to showcase everything that you're doing. It's not just saying, "Oh, here we go again. We got to do this."
Right.
Who wants to, who's going to draw the short stick here and show up for this? No, you've got people that want to show up and actually do this and participate.
Yes.
And are proud of it.
Yeah,
too.
and I'm glad you talked about the team building skills and or stuff like that, because building the walls and things like that get the team together, and and not just that, but while we're there, bringing the whole team together and just hanging out all weekend long. Their families stop by at some point in time over the course of the weekend. The entire team is there. At some point in time, either in the beginning of setting up and then throughout the course of the weekends, the teams will be there with their friends, their families. They get something to eat. It's a great time to come out and just camaraderie. Really is what we really look at it. And I mean, last year, some people thought it was a bust, but we got so much out of it just for ourselves.
Yeah.
More so than anything else. I mean, we laughed so freaking hard the entire time. Like the place was quiet. Okay, well, it wasn't quiet, but everything else seemed to be quiet. And I think mostly all of the vendors were down with us. just having a good old time.
Literally, all you heard was the buzzing from the tasers and giggling and laughing going on just constantly all day.
Yeah, man. We had the tasers going. We had cornhole playing.
Yeah, we did.
Our kids are all running around having fun, kicking balls.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. It was my favorite show that we've done.
Alan Tyson's son had his little dirt bike.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He had his little dirt bike in there racing around.
Yeah.
Like I
His
said,
little TC Backer hoodie.
they're gonna need to bring bigger tasers next time for the muscle that you have here now. You know,
Yeah, I know. Right? You mean Ben? We
Big
need a
Ben,
cattle
yes.
prod for him.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, dude's built like a brick shit out.
That's what I was gonna say.
That. But I mean, every time I see him, he's wearing a big, thick, hoodie that's oversized. And one night he shows up, I'm like, Jesus Christ. What did you eat, dude, before you got here? Like, give me some. Like buff and stuff. HR buff and stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
That's funny stuff.
Creepers. Where did that come from? Dang. But anyhow.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'll get a cattle prod for Ben. Try to keep him in line. You guys laugh about that, but we used to I picked fruit for a guy when I was a kid. He used to get us with him. If we weren't picking fast enough. Wow. Yeah, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he'd break out the old cattle prod. Back then, your parents, if you were out of line, the neighbors could come over and whoop up on you. Yeah, so
it's a little different,
this
right?
This dude used to come by, pick us up about 4 o'clock in the morning. We'd go out in the fields and pick fruit and green beans, peaches, all kinds of stuff. And he would say, "Don't bruise you the fruity," and amongst all kinds of other stuff. So we couldn't rob the youth. Okay, so he didn't want us.
Don't bruise you the fruity.
Yeah, don't bruise you the fruity. And pick your berries, and he would. I won't even say what he was saying, but he would say all kinds of stuff, man. And yeah, he would break out the old cattle prod. One time it started to rain. I'm going to just tell a quick story here. So he took a couple of the other workers up on top of the hill there and picked cherries. And we were down, me and Stevie Dotson, one of my best friends when I was a kid growing up, his name's Stevie. We're down at the bottom picking black raspberries, and they're a booger to pick, okay, because they're in thistles. And so we're picking, and it started raining. He said if it starts raining, we would get paid by the flat, which a flat, there would be 8 quarts or 16 pints in it, okay? So we would get paid by the flat. And he said if it starts to rain, because of the blueberries would start to, like, not necessarily melt, but have you ever seen the quart, like the paper, that cardboard quarts that they would come in, and it would, like, dye the inside of it? Well, anyhow, he didn't want us to get them wet, the cardboard flats or the cardboard container that the quart that the black raspberries we were putting in. He's like, so throw this tarp over it when it starts raining. But he expected us to keep working in the rain, because we would pick the fruit and then go to his fruit stand and sell fruit all day. We'd work about 12, 14 hours a day. And I was about 12. I think I started when I was 12 and worked for him until I was about 16 years old. But anyhow, probably longer than that. So it started to rain. And so, of course, we pulled the tarp off the top of the fruit, and we crawled underneath the tarp and went to sleep. But he could see us up on the top of the hill, and we didn't realize he could see us. Dude, that was probably the scariest day of my life when he came down off that hill. He used to drive this Bonneville. It was a real long Bonneville, or no, it was a Lincoln. Lincoln, like, town car, like old school, boxy, real long. The trunk was the size of an 8-foot Ford F-150. And we would load all of these flats of fruit in the back of this thing. And I swear to God, his eyes were not on all of us squeezed in the back of this thing. Nobody wanted to sit in the front seat with him. And the whole entire time, he was in the back seat with us, screaming. I mean, freaking out. A few boys were over. I'd crack your effing skull. I mean, he was going off the deep end. I have no idea how we made it to the fruit stand. No clue how we made it, dude. Because I swear to God, dude, he was in the back seat with us the entire time, screaming in our faces, dude. Damon Reese, my buddy Damon Reese, was also there, and he was laughing. But Stevie and I, we were terrified, dude. Terrified.
That's good stuff right there.
Was. But anyhow, that's why I am the way that I am today. That's the generation of stuff.
Traumatized.
I watched this dude shoot somebody one time, man, and got away with it.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So anyhow, long story short, Billy Smith, he is passed and gone now, so I don't mind talking about him a little bit, but I won't have to worry about him watching this, but he died of stomach cancer. Yeah. Poor soul.
Yeah.
Good dude. Hell of a pool player. Yeah. But anyhow. So, what are we talking about now? Professional, personal.
Let's talk a little bit about maybe some successes that we had this year.
Successes?
Yeah. Like what's something, Bruno, that you can look back on this year and say, I really love this accomplishment that I had? Or
one of the ones, it's kind of a combination of business and personal. And when I say that, I mean that I've been able to this year more balance my professional and personal life. I've been able to spend more time for me, because there was a while, and I let the pandemic get the better of me a little bit, to where I almost couldn't tell what time of day it was, lost track of the day. And I think most of us did. Lost track of the days of the week. And to where it would be, I would just work, take a break for maybe an hour to watch TV or eat, and then go back to work, and then go to bed, and then do the same thing. So I've managed to balance that a bit more now. And the work that I do in the evenings, it's more, what can I do to help my clients generate revenue? How can I help? I'm not doing any reporting types of things. I'm not working on spreadsheets. I'm not doing any of this stuff at night or after hours anymore. That sort of thing is being done pretty much, before I start my day or finish my day. I'm not doing that kind of monotony at night.
Yeah.
Because that's what gets me bogged down, where I lose night's sleep. I'm not sleeping well.
Yeah.
So the things I'm doing at night, if I can come up with revenue generating ideas for people or help them improve what they're doing, that's how I'm spending my other time. But it's just that balance,
Cool.
which is tough. It's tough to do that. I think we all get wrapped up a lot.
Exercising or meditating or nothing like that, or you already do those things?
Exercising, yeah, right. I don't even know what that is half the time. But I just thank my metabolism. I should probably be about 400 pounds right now, but I thank my metabolism, because exercise, I really do need to do that. But yeah.
What about you, Rich?
Yeah, honestly, things changed for me a lot in reference to, I was driving around a whole lot, and I guess it would have been like 19 into 2020, and then things came to like a screeching halt, right, with COVID. So I started doing a lot of like more online presentations, a lot of Zoom meetings, still some in-person stuff. So it was like I was home a lot more.
Yeah.
So just sitting, right, not as mobile. So things kind of caught up to me, and then this year, like 2 months, what was it? I guess it was in November. I ended up getting sick. And it kind of just put me back, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, now's the time. Now's the time to kind of, maybe put some money behind. I'm on a vitamin regimen. Have been for years, like probably 10, 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you can put all that good in your body. You can think all the great things, but you need to actually take some action too.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm, going to put some dates on the calendar and literally like have a personal trainer get me kick-started.
There you go.
For a couple weeks, right?
And
again, that's what I need, right, for me, and I know that. So that's kind of a big part of it. Health is a big thing, because it's hard to get it back once you lose it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's a big part. But I know it was mentioned a little bit earlier. We were talking about it before, and I know you might even share a little bit, Chris, on this too. But just time spent with people that you care about, right? It's very important. So that whole work-life balance thing.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan of imbalance.
Right.
And when I say that, is literally there's times that you just need to shut down and you need to actually focus in on family.
Yeah.
And don't apologize for it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like sometimes there might be days where I have extreme imbalance because family comes first. And I had a recent colleague that literally was just like, hey, family stuff is just creeping up, and he's like, I can't feel like, I'm like, who cares about work? Get off the phone, go handle family. Because if family's not good, how are you you're gonna be so distracted. And I don't care what the issue is, just tackle it, get it done at home, be the person that is actually gonna handle things at home. And again, to me, that's handling the real business.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we honestly, most of us do what we do so we can support our families, but if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of our family. Really, if you think about it, and the thing that I've been really reflecting on, and I even wrote this down, is personal, professional, and industry. Okay, so where have I been slacking? Which portion of three topics where am I slacking, or where do I want to do better, or where can I do better? In my personal life, I definitely need to find some more balance there, and it's not just with family, but for myself personally. Okay, and if that means coming into work, maybe 30 minutes later to get on the treadmill for 30 minutes, do a little bit of reading, whatever it might take to just live a better quality of life, be able to think better, to think clearer, and then get more done in less hours while I'm at work because I have more energy. Okay, self-esteem's better, I feel better, I have more energy, just those little things. Okay, so I know that, but I chose not to do that. Okay, I chose to drink 12 Red Bulls a day to keep that high energy that I thrive on. Okay, so professionally, I think I'm doing pretty good. You know what I mean? There's always room, right? For to make things a little bit better, for improvement. But I feel like we're really getting it there, and I don't want to, let up yet there. But I think there's a lot. But then talking about the industry, I feel like there's more that I can do for our industry within the industry that we're in, and we talked a lot about it earlier. But I think there's a lot more other spaces that I really want to either help out or be more vocal or share my experience, strength, and hope with. Do you know what I mean? So going into 2022, I want to participate more in things so I can help benefit or better our industry. On top of which, I won't be able to do any of that if I'm not taking care of myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Unfortunately, I have to be a little bit selfish.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I know that sounds horrible.
Yep.
But I have to be a little bit selfish, take care of myself so I can take care of my family, take care of our people, and then try to take care of our industry.
Yep. So that was one of the things, like I know years ago, again, I do a lot of reading, a lot of listening to different things, and I forget who exactly said it, but it was probably John Maxwell or somebody really smart like him. But it was, you can only give out of overflow. So if you're putting things into you, it's gonna come out. And it's got to be those good things. And so, kudos to you for doing that and actually rubbing off on some of your teammates here.
Yeah.
Because that's it. I mean, you can only give. And again, it applies to work and at home.
Right.
And it also bleeds out when you're actually going and meeting new people out in the marketplace.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, when you put yourself in a good mindset and people see that,
Yep.
people around you recognize that,
It's
and they feed
contagious.
off of it. It is contagious, yeah.
Oh, man.
And that's the thing. And if you come in there, and likewise on the other side of that, if you come in there, you're all tired, exhausted, beat down, and you're not in a good mood,
Yep.
that rubs off on the people around you as well.
It totally does.
So, so just kind of getting yourself in that good frame of mind and where you want to be, and then the people around you are going to feed off of that for
I had
sure.
a good conversation with a good person in my life about, hey, you're a bus driver. Okay, pretend you're a bus driver. There's a book called The Energy Bus. It's like, you allow as the bus driver who you want to get on the bus. They're either people that are going to uplift and bring positive energy to the bus ride, or they're going to be energy vampires and they're going to suck it right out.
Right.
So it's like, be careful how much time you spend around certain people, right, as well. So be choosy around that, but also know that there are people in your life that you want to rub off positive energy on. So come prepared with extra energy, come full, come overflowing, okay? But also know that a little bit of time there, But let's put some place, put some time into the right people, the right spaces where there's potential, right?
Yeah.
And I think, that's it. 2022 for me is a lot of spending the right time with the right people
There you go.
to have supernatural expectation in what's going to happen.
Yeah. And then the ripple effect from there will.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yep.
I think I can say for myself, what I would pinpoint as the biggest success of 2021 is, I can't even say just me personally, but just the hand that I had in it, the team that we've built, from the start of 21 to how we're ending 2021. I feel like we're in a really good space. We've made a lot of accomplishments this year in the workspace, and like this is my family. You know what I mean? So I hate to focus everything around work, but like this is like, we live for this stuff. Like this is what we do, and I really think that just in my area alone, my Maryland area with my guys, I think that I have a really good team built. We have a lot of respect for each other. We've done a lot of good things this year. And going forward, I'm really excited to see what we're going to accomplish with what we've put in place in 2021, to see exactly where that's going to take us in 2022. And, on a personal level, I think to not be cliche or anything with New Year's resolutions, but I think mine, we spoke about it earlier, mine's going to be to try to be more present when I'm not on the clock, when I'm at home, trying to be more present. I know that all of us can relate to that. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a couple dads before dad actually responds and realizes that something's going on, or, I'm at home and I'm either scrolling through emails, or I'm looking, answering the phone for something else, or this or that, or, thinking about tomorrow, what the guys are going to do tomorrow, that kind of stuff. And just try to be a little bit more present when we're at home. And I know that was a big focus when we went down to RoofCon. There was a gentleman down there that, it's as crazy as it sounds. I don't remember who it was. You remember the guy that he owned the roofing company, and he's like at what is it, 5 o'clock? When he gets home, his work phone stays in his. He turns his cell phone off, and I'm sitting here thinking I can't do that. I can't do that. Number one,
he's in a different position.
He's in a different position. Correct.
Yes.
Correct. But I know that everyone is in the position, and they understand. You have to be able to have that work and personal life balance. You know what I mean? But you can't just completely slack off on one end either. You can't just fully put work away. I know that there's never going to be a time that I can just take this work cell and just turn it off and throw it away at nighttime, because we have guys in the field. As long as there's guys in the field, you got to be present, for questions, any kind of homeowner concerns, any of that kind of stuff. But at the same time, when I'm not on that phone, I can do better at not thinking about, is that phone going to ring, or what am I going to talk about tomorrow with the guys, or what's going to go on in this meeting. I can be more present in the now and just try to do better that way. So, but I know just to watch the success of the guys and some of the accomplishment that the team has done. I mean, look at how far Tam and all the new people, look at all the new people we brought in 2021.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just this year alone, the amount of people that we've hired, good quality people.
Yeah.
That
and the year before.
Yes, that kind of took the torch for the job progress thing and put it into what it is now. It's amazing. It's amazing to, if we could have a time-lapse video to see where we started in 2021 to where we are right now.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really, really cool stuff.
It is good stuff.
So I have a question for you guys. So there's 3 TC Backer employees in here right now. And just shout it out, what are words, just standalone words that would represent what you would say, this word is TC Backer?
Integrity.
Honesty.
Yeah.
Loyalty.
Yeah. Hard work.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's our core value.
Kudos to you guys. Yeah. You guys are bringing some good people on board too, actually, from what I'm hearing. So.
Yeah, and honestly, man, the consistency is key. If at first, when we first started talking about all this stuff, when we first started doing these shows and everything, it was almost like us over here in this space, and there's a few other people, it's how can we get everyone to drink the juice?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dude, people are coming in here now already drinking the juice.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We're hiring people and interviewing them. The people that are applying already have that cup of juice in their hand. You know what I mean? And it didn't used to be like that.
No, because we've taken a different approach too on how we hire people.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not that one first meeting. Okay, you're hired.
Right.
You know what I mean? We literally do a 3 to 4 for in-person interview. Yeah, and I figure if they come back by the third one, because some people won't even come back. Dude, what is this? Am I being interrogated or?
Well, actually, they kind of are. You're being welcomed into a family.
Right. Yeah.
And you don't want crazy people in your family.
No.
Right.
We
already have those on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Seriously, we have one of them. Jana, but no, seriously, it's we really. I mean, not that we don't care about their skill sets. Okay, and what they're capable of doing and what education that they have. Okay, not that doesn't matter. We really care about who they are as an individual. That other stuff, because our system isn't where you came from before anyhow. Our system's a little bit different.
Yeah, we're going to have to teach you something anyways.
Yeah, we're going to have to teach. I mean, as long as you know how to turn a computer on and you can type so many words a minute and no Excel, that's cool. Right. You know what I'm saying? But what we use is, as far as our CRM goes, isn't anything unless you came from the roofing industry and have used Job Progress. You know what I mean? And it's not now that we kind of got it, fully up and
even
running.
if they have Ty.
Yeah,
the way we use it,
right?
We've molded it to our company.
Yes.
This is our job progress, our version.
Exactly.
Right.
So
You can always teach skills. It's the attitude.
Yeah, you
the
can't
work
teach
ethic.
people
we
the work
can't
ethic.
teach that. Yes,
Yeah.
we can't teach, integrity, honesty, loyalty, hard work. Either you have it or you don't have
Correct.
it. So
Absolutely.
that's really what we're looking for. And that's why we do a 3 to 4 thing, because most people who come into the first interview, and I've watched people, they come dressed. I mean, this is my t-shirt and Levi's is my only disguise. Okay. So everybody at the shop dresses very casual. So when someone comes in for an interview, they're very uptight and they're dressed in, and their hair's perfect and everything like that. And then they come into my smoke-filled office. Okay. They're like, okay, this is a little bit different. So you don't get a good read on them. You can't get that vibe. What is the vibe? Because the vibe you're picking up is that they're probably terrified. Half of them. Okay. So by the second time they loosened up a little bit. Okay. So now they can answer the questions without stuttering, or it depends on what we're hiring them
When do you
for.
bring out the taser?
Usually between between 3 and 4.
Okay, good. All right.
Between 3 and 4.
You gotta welcome them in.
You got to hit them a little bit when they're leaving the third one, see if they come back for
Yeah,
another.
that's right. And that's what I mean. If they actually come back, do you know what I mean? Then they're a keeper.
Well, that's it. I mean, just like anything else, it's like you're dating, right?
Yeah.
Do they pass the sniff test?
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think that's very important.
Absolutely.
You guys got to protect the culture just as much as you build it.
Absolutely. And we a while back let somebody go because they didn't fit the culture.
Yeah.
But what we did is we gave them a 2-week notice.
Yep.
Hey, their 90-day was coming up, and it was 80 something into it. It was like, look, this is where we're at, and we just wanted you to know after your 90 days, we're telling you now. So find something. If you need a letter of recommendation, here you go. You might fit someplace else and excel very well, but here, you're not going to be a good fit. And you know where the mistake was? I was in a rush, and I was going out of town, and I thought, Christ, we need somebody now. By the time I get back, it'll be 3 to 4 weeks before they can even start. So we were rushing interviews. Shame on me, and I hired them based upon a referral. Okay, so I thought, okay, well, referral is a referral. You're half sold on any kind of referral. Okay, so they came in, I interviewed them, and it was like, okay. But then I had that feeling. I really did have that feeling. But I thought, okay, it's one less thing off my plate. I can go now. I can go out of town. I think it was last year at IRE.
IRE, yep.
Actually, this year's IRE, because IRE is coming up.
Yeah, because
next
it wasn't
year
on the
already.
storm. It was the IRE.
Yeah, it was
right?
IRE.
Yeah.
Yes, it was IRE. So we were out in Vegas. We were going out to Vegas. So it was like I knew we needed someone because I figured if they were going to put a 2-week notice in, they would be able to start a week after I got back. Mm-hmm. So bad mistake. I did a knee-jerk hire, and we paid for it. No, really, we didn't pay for it, but it was whatever. But
in all reality, like if you don't pick a good hire, you can pay for it.
Oh my gosh,
it impacts your culture.
Yes.
Right.
Impacts your brand.
For sure.
It's nothing to mess with. And actually, that's one of the big things I talk to organizations a lot about is culture does impact your return on your investment.
right.
Yeah.
So if you're investing into people and you're grooming them and you're shaping them, something goes haywire, the cost to actually find somebody and bring them in and possibly go through 1 or 2 of those types of individuals, and depending on the role, you could be out a good chunk of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can't ever half-ass it.
Right.
Yeah,
When you bring someone in, you have to bring them in with the idea. You got to forget anything that happened in any previous hires or anything like that. You have to bring them in and give them the full the full crash course, and give them everything invested in order for them to succeed. Whether or not you think they're going to succeed or not, you still have to do it.
Yeah.
And then once 90 days later, you find out that it was a waste of 90 days, time, energy you're never going to get back.
Right.
But you have to do that
And
every
that's
time.
a good point. That's a good point too, because we also have a responsibility to set them up to succeed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's huge. And when one of you guys were talking, the back end to that is the retainage of good people. To retain them, for a long time, that's our responsibility to make sure that we set them up for success. And just because they're not good at one thing doesn't necessarily mean they won't fit someplace else within the company.
Right.
To try to find somebody's strengths, you know what I mean, and to identify that right away and listen to what they have to say. You know what I mean? Like and keep that open communication So they feel comfortable enough to say, look, I'm not very good at this. I'll learn it, whatever the case might be, and transition them into a different position. You know what I mean? Because then that gives that person too that sense of safety.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? As long as I know I'm giving it my all and I'm being honest and I'm not very good at it, you're not going to get scolded or fired for that. You're going to get moved to some place that we feel that you're stronger at. Do you know what I mean?
That's your job as a manager.
And that's where the retainage comes in too. I was talking to, I think, Dan Barker or one of his affiliates the other day, and he asked me, he was like, what's your retainage ratio, like out of 10 over a 12-month period of time? And I was like, 9. And he was like, really? And I was actually getting ready to say 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, we don't really lose many people.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. And because of the culture, it actually attracts people. So the hiring process has been a little bit easier because of the quality of people who want to come work for us.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's
raise
kind of
the bar.
cool. Yeah, man, it's kind of cool how that works.
Yeah. Well, I even think about it from this perspective. Like in sports, one of those like elite teams is always the Yankees, right? And it's like they have a code, right? Yeah, you're clean shaven, like you dress sharp. Like there's something different about it that it's almost like appealing,
Right.
Right? As a player, it's like, oh man, like I want to be a part of that team, right? You're doing the same thing.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
People don't quit jobs, man. They quit managers. They quit bosses.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You know,
All the time.
and
All
like
the
Ty said, one of
Nothing
the
about money.
yeah.
You gotta like what you're doing.
Right. One of the jobs of being a manager in order to retain people, it is figuring out, you know, if so-and-so isn't good right here, figure out what seat they belong in, you know. And I like your sports analogy, okay? You know, how many times do we hear about, I'm a Cowboys fan, okay? So the big thing right now is our cornerback Trayvon Diggs. He's lighting the league up. He started as a wide receiver, right? And at some point in time, someone said, look, you're an okay wide receiver, but I think you're going to be really good at this position, and moved him there. You know what I mean? That was his job as a coach, as a position coach, to recognize the talent right there and say, look, you're not the greatest here, but you're going to be great here.
Versus just trying to ship him out.
Right.
You know?
Instead of just shipping him out and finding a better wide receiver,
Absolutely.
he moved him over here, gave space for another guy to come up and shine at that position, and now he's shining over in this position. So that's, you know, I like the analogy of the sports teams, because that's what a lot of this is, man. You know what I mean? A lot of it is managing the different personalities that we have and all that kind of stuff. You have to be able to, you know, to be like water, like Bruce Lee would say. You know, be like water.
It comes down to like reading people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys, you know, again, in your hiring process, that's what you've been skilled at now.
Yes.
Right.
Through trial and error, believe me.
And it's that you know, old book, The Speed of Trust. Right. It goes both ways though too. So it's really how long does it really take, and what's that process to really build that relationship with somebody? But again, you guys, I'll go back to you're adding to your family. And there's nothing that replaces that.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
And to that point, as you're hiring, I don't know if anybody heard my little rant that I went on my Facebook and LinkedIn the other week about some of the hiring processes where people, I think businesses just don't respect people's time. You know, they make it all about them and nothing at all about the people who are actually interviewing. It's tough enough to get people to interview. Let alone treating them like garbage or not responding to them or not giving them any feedback and things like that. And I think that's a big thing.
Yes.
And you guys obviously being in growth mode, you guys are attracting people, you're drawing people here. And it's kind of like to put that in a marketing perspective, there are 3 zones that I typically, when I see businesses, there's 3 zones. There's I just go through this real quickly because I'm sure we've been going on and on here. But we've got a comfort zone, which I think that's the first zone, and that's where people want to invest very little into their marketing budget, but expect a lot of results. And typically, in that zone, you're not going to gain a lot of traction, not going to see the results that you're looking for. Then there's the comfort zone, or pardon me, the success zone, which is the one kind of in the middle. That's the sweet spot, I guess, where you put a number of dollars into it. You have an expectation of what it's going to do. You get some decent brand recognition. You get some decent return on the investment. But it's just kind of middle of the road. But I think where you guys are is in the ability zone. you're there, you're looking to, I mean, you're a heavy hitter. You're looking to take control of the market. You're looking to grow. You're looking to add trucks. You're looking to add headcount. You're looking to really take control of the market. So therefore, you're taking different avenues. I mean, you're putting me to work for you. You're putting some other folks to work for you. You're going different avenues. You're going, you're casting a big net. You're doing some things that are a little tighter, but you're investing the dollars in that because you recognize, hey, we want to open up some spots not only on Delaware, but we're looking in Jersey. We're looking at some different states. We want to add people on all those spots, get trucks on the road and all these things, and just duplicate and replicate this business here in some other spots. So so that's kind of where you are. But those are really the three zones.
Sounds like he's been hanging around a little while.
Yeah, a little bit. You're a good listener.
He really is. Man.
You know, hey.
Yeah, you're a good listener.
He's picking up what you've been putting down right
there.
there.
For sure.
Literally sounded like Ty talking right there.
Good. I'm
That's
glad
good.
you're listening, bro.
Look at that.
That's good.
Look at that.
No, I love it. And that's all good stuff. And the duplication, man, to try to make it, as duplicatable as possible in any area. And like I was talking about the message. That's the message. Like if I'm not there, I want it to be the same message as if I was there. And really, if you think about it, it's just the message. It's just the message.
Yeah.
And hopefully they receive it in the correct way, and you've received the message, my brother.
Good. I mean, that's good stuff. I always appreciate it. And like I said, coming in here for these things, I have a blast every time I come in here and talk to you guys. Yes. I mean, this is great.
It is a blast.
It's always pick up some new insights and pick up some good different stuff.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for the tip,
and hopefully Rich over here, I'm just trying to introduce you to some good people. Rich is good people over here. And
for sure. For sure. So good stuff, man. What are we about? An hour and 11 minutes into
hour and 11 minutes.
Once again, big shout out to Lead Scout. Thank you guys for everything that you do. Home shows are in February. York is 11th through the 13th. Adams County is the 18th and 19th. Come check us out. We're going to have roofers, roasters on site. We will be serving free lattes. Bruno's favorite, right?
That's
little cinnamon sprinkled on top. See?
Little whipped cream. Got to put a little whipped cream on it too to make it really good.
There you go. So come check us out at the home shows, both home shows. And happy New Year, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully, everyone has a safe New Year. Don't do anything that we wouldn't do. So it leaves you open for a little bit of options there. But just make sure that everyone's safe. Enjoy the time with your family over the holidays. We'll see everyone in 2022. Thank you guys for 52 amazing episodes this year. For everyone sticking with us, to the team that watches us every week, to all the guests that have been a part of the shows. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
And
Thank you guys.
try to make everyone, if you take anything away from today, try to make a New Year's resolution that you will stick to.
Yeah, man.
Something that you will stick to, that whether it's go to the gym, make sure you're still there in March and April and May.
Yeah.
Just make something that's attainable and stick with it. Consistency.
Join a group or something of some kinds. That way you're held accountable.
That is the big thing. A lot of people try to do these New Year's resolutions. I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm a sucker for a New Year's resolution of going to the gym and not actually doing it, because if I don't have someone waiting for me at 4 a.m. when I have to go, it's easy for me to call off. But if I got someone that got out of bed and took their butts to the gym at 4 a.m. waiting for me, I'm going to get up and go.
Absolutely.
So, everyone be safe.
Yep.
And we'll see everyone for the first episode of 2022 next Wednesday.
Happy New Year, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the holiday.